Alright guys, Sean Spitzer here to talk to you a little bit about the theory of hard surface modeling. Our first assignment is going to be, you guys are going to model this little environment here, little Neo Tokyo. This is some concept art taken from Deus Ex. I thought it would be a great little scene to make for the first 2 weeks. And we'll be making this whole environment, and it has a nice amount of detail that you can add, even elaborate if you wish. And this could be very much a lot of fun. So let me show you the approaches for this and how we can actually tweak this out and make this our own. I gave you guys a bunch of references in the file which shows you the lighting. Maybe we can get to lighting in this course. For the most part though, it is hard surface, so we'll be focusing just on modeling. So in the first part, what I did was I simply went in here and I created, and we can hit the hotbox here, which I love so much, and you can go in here and create whatever it is that you need to create. It's pretty awesome. So we can go to meshes, and sorry, I got a little happy with this singing. I'll try not to do that again. Go to create polygon primitives, and we can go in here, and I just did cube. So I made a quick cube, extruded this guy up. Now if you need things beveled, just try to keep in mind when you do that, it's better to try to select all the edges. But if you don't, you have to go in here and correct any 5 sides that show up. I want you guys to primarily use and work with quads. There is a reason for that. Some people are like, but I've seen in the game industry that they use triangles sometimes. Well, triangles can be good, but when you're starting out, it's good to understand why quads are important. They're just easier to unwrap. They're easier to work with. And again, I'll use triangles as long as I can manage them and I know where they're going and how they're working. So you got to keep that in mind. Some people, you tell them to use triangles, that's all they use, and just a little bit of quads, and then they think they're awesome model. They have an awesome model, then they go to unwrap it and they cry a very sad cry, because triangles in a lot of 3D programs have a hard time being read, especially if you use automatic map. If you even try to unfold them using any of the pelt tools, can be hard on that model. And also, it's a little, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a dangerous thing to just jump on triangles. So for the most part, this particular project, I want you guys to focus on quads, and later on we can talk about the theory of triangles and where they work, where they fit, where to use them. Because believe it or not, in games and even in movies, if you need to cut corners because of render time or because of real time, they do have a place and they can be helpful. All right, so we got this object here. So what I did before was I simply selected the top face of this guy here. Just simply did in a quick extrude. You guys all know how to extrude, right? Totally, Sean, we totally do. Okay, that's great. So we go and extrude this here, grab the face here, and then we just did an extrusion one more time, and you can hit the G key to repeat the last process. And I love the G key. It's so freaking awesome. And I kept it pretty minute and pretty stable there on the side. Now look at your reference. I give you guys some stuff, and you're more than welcome to grab more references, mainly for setting and atmosphere purposes. But these details can be a little bit hard to see when it comes to concept art. So what you can do is you can actually go in here and play them up a little bit. Now most of the time when it's a concrete wall and corner, it's going to be hard edged. But if something like a metal area which is next to an awning or whatever it is, or a window, you're going to see a little bit of a curve, and we're going to get to that later on. We're actually going to build this guy out, and for the heck of it, actually we'll use this guy. We'll use him as a guinea pig. I'll show you how we can make a bevel and have the bevels match, which are very important. So we have a little lip there that I had, and from there I started working on this little slide window thing. Now I kept it pretty simple. Normally you can do this with textures, and what I'm looking at right here, if you look at the concept art, you'll see that we have a little lip here on the top, and this is basically the sliding door that goes up and squishes on itself. So I didn't see myself necessarily doing this all just texture. I could have, but I decided, since it was so simple, just to do it with geo. So it hits the light. There's going to be a light right here that'll actually play out pretty nicely, make it look realistic. So even though this environment was originally built for real time, in our assignment we're going to build it as if it really exists. So we actually put as much detail as possible in the next few weeks. Let me go and zoom out. So we got this guy here all ready to go. And the one thing you got to keep in mind when you do build an environment, even a small one, like a small piece of a diorama here, you have to actually really try to sell the detail. It's all in the details. So when something is pushed out, you want to keep in mind how it's pushed out and how it's going to fit into the other object. So this is mainly why I chose to go in here and push out the little grid here. So I grabbed every other edge. When I extruded it, I caused a division to happen. and worked out pretty well. Also, when you guys do model, keep in mind you can also choose multi. This is actually really nice. This allows you to choose faces, edges, and points at the same time, and it works out really well. So you can go in here, I can select a face, I can select an edge, and it's pretty nice. Hit shift and you can get most of them done, and you'll be able to move, and all those guys will move together. Looks like it's dancing. So weird. Just thought I'd point that out real quick. Multi is pretty awesome. Also, when you're editing, you can hit your control and right click, and you'll see you can shrink selection and grow your selection. You can even go to submenus, which are really great. Pretty nice. Also, if you hit shift and right click, you can poke the face, face normals. You can go to all these different subcategories, which worked really well. Later on, I'll show you guys how to use mel scripts to make your own custom shelves like this, which is really nice when it comes to hard surface, and to get a good flow with Maya. That sounds great, Sean. Awesome. Give me a virtual high five. All right, awesome. So let's move on. So we got here, you can see just quickly a little bit of the methodology I have going on. But also, when you're hard surface modeling, I want to make this a good point here. When you're snapping, you got to have kind of a grid mentality. Because if you decide to modulate some of your stuff, you got to think ahead of time how this is going to work. And to do that, I can hit insert, keep my finger on the V key, snap this guy to a corner, hit insert, and keep my finger on the V key again, and I can snap into an edge. This is very important when it comes to building. And at any time you hit insert to keep your finger on the V key, change that pivot point if you need to. You got to make sure you select it. My bad for that one. And then just move it around to whatever you need to go. And it's great because once that is there and established, I keep my finger in the V key and I can snap it to another area. And I can modulate a little bit more efficiently. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right. So let's do a bevel within an enigma, within a thingy. All right. Sorry, just joking around. So I'm going to grab this guy here. We'll go to faces, and I'm going to extrude him out from his environment. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just hit extrude, a little icon here. Pull him out. Now again, they do have this newer feature where it allows you to mess with your thickness and offset here. I don't really like to play with this so much. I think it's kind of cool, but sometimes if you click in the wrong area or your graphics card doesn't update really well, because this is embedded in your OpenGL and it gives you a little mini interface, sometimes can be hard to click. What I like to do is just go to the channel box and mess with my divisions from here. So I can move this up. If I wanted to divide it, I can go in here and divide it under my divisions there. And I like the middle mouse drag to do that sometimes. Or you can taper it if you want to, which pinches it. Let me make sure I get that there. And there are some issues if I probably have too much history on this guy. And it may not necessarily update with the taper, which is kind of annoying. And literally you can just scale it at that point. All right, so let me do control, let me pull this out of here, pull it back out where we had it. Awesome sauce. And I'm now going to extract him. I'm just showing you an example of how you can get your form and function and shapes to work together, because it's all about suspension of disbelief. You got to be able to sell your environment. If it doesn't look like it's going to work, if it doesn't look believable, then it's probably not. So you want to be able to beat the next guy that built his own Neo Tokyo. You want to make yours better. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to mesh. I'm going to extract. So I just removed that face. Remember, as you go, delete your history. We go to edit, delete by type, all history. When you're rigging, that's not a good idea. When you're modeling, that's an amazing idea. That prevents Maya from getting weird transform nodes to pop in and to mess up your scene. So I got this piece here of Geo. What's up, Geo? We're going to get the transform tool here. And again, you can hit W for that. I just got lazy and clicked on my menu. And I'm going to grab my edges. And grab this guy here. Sorry, my camera's a little wonky today. And I'm going to go in bevel. So we go to edit mesh and we can run a bevel. Now if you want to, you can also go to your icons for these different ones that you see here. In this case, we have the bevel. Let's go to bevel here. Bam, there's bevel. Now we can control how this bevel is going to be done. Now you'll notice you have to be careful with bevel, because when you run bevel, you get these 5 sides. And you heard me earlier say you got to be careful when it comes to 5-sided objects. They can be kind of messy. So Control Z, if we want to, we can go back, and it's not going to hurt anybody. We can bevel the whole thing. So we'll hit the G key to repeat the last process, get it all beveled out. Now Maya gets a little confused when you do that. It's all, oh, you just did this and shaded remove. I don't know why it does that, but it does. So you just go to object mode again, right click, and he had the default shader. So we're going to put that default shader under assign existing material, Lambert 1, default. Yay, team. But we want this guy to fit back in here. And if it's not set up correctly, it's going to look really bad. So to do that, let's move him out a little bit because he is too close for comfort. Mr. Cube over here is feeling very uncomfortable and insecure. Let's go and click here, hit the F key, and then we zoom in a little closer. So watch this. So what I'm going to do now, go back, we'll go to edges, and I can select the edge here, and then you want to select the edge there. So we want to select the exiting edge and the interior edge. Exiting edge, and again, the interior edge. And what this is going to do, this is going to allow us to bevel and to keep that bevel all the way down the line. This will allow us to move this guy into place appropriately. So we got that all set up. And if you need to, feel free to bevel it in different areas. Now in this case, before I get too happy, I'm going to remove the back end because you're not going to see it. Once this piece goes inside, you're not going to see it. So whatever you don't need, learn to remove it, like the bottom of this guy. If we're not going to animate him, delete it. He's not going to fall over, so cap it off. Suspension of disbelief. We are doing smoke and beers, and we're not going to work or have the engine or render work harder than it needs to with these unnecessary pieces of geo. So we go over here, grab this guy, go Alright, let me go one more, up, top. There we go. So we got this guy all set up and ready to go. Now if we wanted to give it some dimension, we can. Now if we run a bevel on this, it'll be okay, but maybe we don't want the bevel on the outside. So if I try to run the bevel right now, you can see what our results are. Und bevel! It'll kind of be on the outside. You'll see it kind of capped off, and it looks kind of weird, and now we have geometry that's kind of annoying. So to fix that, what we can do, I mean, we could keep it, but let's do this. We don't want the bevel on the outside. We just want the bevel in the interior because we want to be fancy. We're just those kind of fancy people. So we go all the way around. Cool. A little bit of delay there. And we'll extrude it. And with that extrusion, we're going to move it back. What's up, dude? And whenever you're afraid that Maya is going to start scaling, because sometimes when you use the raw bevel, it will try to scale it, you can switch between your extrude with this little icon. This changes it locally from local mode to world mode. Okay, pretty cool. Very helpful there. So we'll go and extrude that back just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit so we can get our nice, clean, isolated bevel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the edge here, edge here. I got a huge bug flying around me right now. I'm going to punch him in the face. He is kind of big though. Looks like he has tattoos. Go over here and let's go. Check out, make sure my edge is level here. Pretty good. And we'll go here and here. Double check the bottom. Here. It was a hat. There we go. Sweet jibs of justice. With that set up, now we're going to go in here and do bevel. All right. And that bevel is a lot better and looking closer to what we want, and we've isolated our region. Now you'll notice, because we didn't go all the way down the gambit of our edge, you'll notice we're getting a 5-side. What? So we can easily fix that. That's not that hard. You can also do it ahead of time. Let me show you how I cheat when it comes to 5 sides. And you can slice a couple of triangles in there, but why work that hard? With the interactive split tool. He's the ugly cousin of the old split tool, because the old split tool is awesome. Don't tell his mom I said that. Go over here, grab that, and hit enter. There we go. And we can make this a 5-side. Now Maya's just fighting me. He's all, I don't want to cut that. And when that happens, don't sweat it. What you can do is try it from a different angle, and this sometimes can work. Wow, that is the biggest bug I've ever come across, and now he's dead. Sorry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, little intermission. And we go in here and we'll do to interactive split tool again. So we go bam, and go all the way down, bam, and hit enter. Let's see, yay! So Maya likes it on the other side. He's all, okay, that's fine, but not that other side. So we got that there. split that up, and we do the same thing on the other side here. Now you'll notice our normals are getting dark. You can fix that by simply selecting the hard edge normals and make them hard, and the softer, more organic ones, make them soft. All right, so we go in here, and I'll show you how to do that later on. We'll do that just yet, and we'll go again to our interactive split tool. And if you use this interactive split tool a lot, I'll show you how to put it on your shelf. So when you hit any hotkey that you choose, worthy, you can go in there and you can use that guy as you hit, kind of like when you hit your hotbox, and call it up. So I just hit the G key to repeat the last process. I love the G key, by the way. Did I mention that? I think I did. There you go. Isolate that out. So now we have quads, which are so much prettier to look at, especially when you're unwrapping. And again, when you model, you have to think modeling for unwrapping. There we go. Sweet. Now, behold, we now have a little TV box thingy. And we'll hit the W key here. And we'll move him into place. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. 3D TV. All right, cool. So that's one quick breakdown of this. Now, you'll notice, though, you will notice as we pull this guy out, you'll notice it's not quite the same size. You're like, oh, my God. What we can do is go back a little bit here on this guy before we split it up, before we ran the bevel. And we'll go back into our bevel that we want. And we can go in here and lower the scale of it. And let me show you that part of the tool. So let's go and move this guy a little bit closer so we can at least get these guys in the same ballpark. So grab him. I'm going to go ahead and hit the insert key. Remember you saw me do that earlier? Because I can, okay. Snap it here, insert, keep my finger the V key. And we're going to snap this guy kind of in the same ballpark. Now if you want, we can literally just move him back like we did before. So we'll just move him back and put him kind of in the same shell area. This also can work. And we can ghost him out with a layer. So I'll create a new layer, double click on it, call this front. Even colorize it if I want to. We'll do, instead of blue, we'll do, let me see here, brown. Save. Another object called front. Okay, jerk face. We'll do front demo. What a jerk. Save. And we'll do add assign selected object. And we'll template him out. So now I can go in here with this guy, grab my edges, douche, 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 rotate, camera, and camera. Move it over. Sorry. Channeling Crytek there for a second. Go down here. Alright, so we got this guy set up here. So now I can run a bevel, but this time I need to make the bevel look similar to this guy. So I got to bring it in tighter. So we go to Mesh, we go to Bevel, and we can go in here and mess with our offset, our roundness, and our segment. So you can offset things. We can bring it in a little bit tighter. Notice it's really high right now. So we can make it like 0.2 if we want to. Or we can do 0.02 real tight. Look at that. Or a little happy medium. So you can also go in here with it selected. You can also go in here and just move your mouse to bring it to kind of close to what you want. That's actually pretty close. And the reason why they're different sizes, the reason why that's happening, is just because they're two different types of objects. That's actually pretty close to what we need. And they're in two different types of positions. So if we have, actually we can lower this just a little bit more. So we'll go point, let me see here, 09. Hey! And 0.07. What's up, dude? So we looks like we're 0.08 is the money. Phenomenal. And they're two different types of shapes, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to have a different type of angle that's going to happen. So this guy's smaller, even though you might have had the same bevel, it's a different object. That's kind of what it does. So we'll open this up, grab this guy here. Notice this isn't too shabby. We're actually pretty bang on. Yay, I'm so happy. I don't know about you guys, but I want to have some cake. So we go in here and then we can move it in and out, and there you go. We have like the piece that fits that particular object. And when you do bevel, you want that to happen. Otherwise, things look like they're phasing into each other. It'll look weird. And from here, again, you saw me do this. We would split this up so it is not five-sided because it's nasty. And if your parents find out that you've been having five sides on your cube, they won't gather around your 3D model at Christmas and sing about it, and that's going to be real embarrassing for everybody. All right, that's it for the first part of this lecture. We're going to do some more later on, and I'll show you different tips and tricks for doing hard surface modeling. Thank you.